Let's see all the manga that I picked up in November of 2021, and you'll want to stay for the end of this video because there's some really exciting stuff there. Alright, so in my October haul video, the one I released last month, I did mention something pretty big over there about why my hauls were so large over the past several months prior. And this month is like a direct follow-up to that, where I'm wrapping up the stuff that I was talking about in that video. And I've never been more excited about a haul video. So I'm still gonna keep the same format as I typically do. I'm gonna talk about the new releases first, all the stuff that was newly released throughout November that I picked up, or maybe late October as well. And then I'll go into the older releases and stuff that I picked up. So let's go ahead and start off with new releases from Viz Media. At the top of the stack here, I have Frieren Beyond Journey's End Volume 1. This actually was sent to me by Viz Media so that I could do some videos, both a video for YouTube and for TikTok. And I have both of those in the pipeline. They just need some publisher approval before I release them. But spoiler alert for the review of Frieren, I really enjoyed this first volume. I highly recommend it. So if you have the chance to, I would definitely recommend picking up Frieren Volume 1. Next up, also from the Shonen Sunday line, is Mao Volume 2 by Rumiko Takahashi. For Volume 1 was okay, Volume 2 a little bit better. I think it's still kind of finding itself, so I'm excited to see where the series goes from here. It's pretty decent so far, and you know, it's Rumiko Takahashi, so there's kind of a high pedigree there. There's a high expectation of how the series is going to be anyway. Also from Shonen Sunday, we have Komi Can't Communicate Volume 15. I absolutely love this series. I know that the anime started up recently and some friends of mine have been enjoying it well enough. I haven't watched the anime, but I love the manga. It's been one of my favorites since I picked it up last year. It's just such a nice, fun, wholesome series. I really recommend it. If you haven't read it yet, definitely check it out if you're into like romantic comedy type stuff. As well, the author stated that it was supposed to be nearing its end, so I'm excited for that because I love seeing series kind of organically reach their ends and stuff, and this is one that I love to see how it would wrap up. Then we've got some stuff from Shonen Jump, Volume 27 of Black Clover, Volume 19 of Dr. Stone, Volume 11 of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Volume 3 of Mashal, and Volume 4 of Undead Unluck. A lot of great series, particularly if you haven't tried out the newer titles, Mashal and Undead Unluck, I highly recommend them. Both of these are great, especially Mashal. It's just a fantastic blend of like the sense of humor that One Punch Man has, but like in a magical school setting that's very similar to Harry Potter. So if that sounds interesting at all to you, definitely check it out. It's also available, of course, to read on the Shonen Jump or the Viz Media apps or Manga Plus app. So if you want to try it out, the first few chapters should be free on either of those apps. Also from Viz Media Shonen Jump line, we have Volume 2 of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5 Golden Wind hardcover releases. These are great hardcovers. I'm really happy that we're finally in Part 5, and it should be wrapping up and heading into Part 6 in about 2 years. So that might sound like a long time to some people, but like for someone like myself who's been reading and collecting the JoJo manga since 2005, 2 more years honestly doesn't sound like much to me. Moving on to the Viz signature line, we have Beastars Volume 15. I love this series. I mention that every single time I get a new volume. It is one of my favorites that comes out every other month or so. This one I believe has a total of 22 volumes, so we're getting towards the end of the series, and these last few volumes have been really great. It's entered into a new arc. It's very exciting. I love the series. I can't praise it enough. Moving on, another great series is Hell's Paradise. This is Volume 11. This series is by the one of the assistants that worked with Tatsuki Fujimoto, who's the creator, of course, of like Chainsaw Man and Fire Punch, and he also now has a new series that's in the Weekly Shonen Jump magazine. It started just a couple weeks ago. I believe it's called Ayashimon, so definitely check that out. If you enjoy that to any degree, definitely check this one out, but just keep in mind that this is a lot more mature than anything you're going to find in the Weekly Shonen Jump magazine. Then we've got, not a new release, but Volume 16 of Terraformers. If you've been following my channel for a little while, you might know that I like to throw a volume of Terraformers into an order here or there if I need to hit the free shipping amount. So that's exactly what I did with this one. However, I did kind of get tired of not having all the volumes of the series, so recently I did order volume 17 through 22, I believe the most recent one. So those will be in my December haul video. Just spoiler alert for that, but I'll finally have all of Terraformers, and I guess I'll have to find another series to start using as filler when I need to hit that free shipping. Then we have Ursa Yatsura. This is also from Rumiko Takahashi. This is one of her earlier works, I think her earliest like long-running series. In Japan it ran for 34 volumes. We're getting these 2-in-1 releases in the US, and this is volume 12, so we have just 5 more of these 2-in-1 releases before they wrap up the entirety of the series in English for the first time, because while parts of it were published in English before, the entirety of the series has never been before released in the States. So that's really exciting to finally have this classic legendary title from such a legendary creator as Rumiko Takahashi in our collections. I'm really excited about it. And then we've got volume 4 of Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead. This is by the same writer as the series Alice in Borderland, which we are getting a physical English release of next year in March, I believe, and it's a 2-in-1 release. So I believe it's a total of 18 volumes, which means the 2-in-1s will have just 9 volumes. So it'll release a lot quicker that way. It's going to be oversized as well, so the same size as these, and I believe it is still a paperback edition. They look great. I actually posted a picture of the first volume on my one of my community posts in my channel recently. I think it looks really great. I'm really excited for that. And if you haven't tried out Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead, I recommend it. It is a lot of fun. It's a great comedy series. So that's all the Viz stuff. Let's move on over now to Kadansha. All right, so some great releases from Kadansha. We have the 5th of the 3-in-1 editions of Shaman King. This collects volumes 13, 14, and 15 of the original release in this nice thick volume. I really like the connecting spines they've been doing with these. Also, the new edit that Kadansha has been doing specifically for the lettering and stuff is fantastic. Back when the first volume came out, I did upload a video onto my channel showing and comparing the artwork and the lettering and stuff between the original Viz Media Shonen Jump releases of the series to the new Kadansha releases. I know a lot of people are not crazy about the 3-in-1s because they're thick and the spines kind of break easily. If you take care of them when you read them, it's not going to be too much of a problem. Just be careful with the spine. But I do like a lot of the other aspects about the series compared to the original release. I do still have my original Shonen Jump release because I also love those volumes and I love having all the original covers and stuff. So it's really a toss-up for me which one I like more, but at the very least I have that video on my channel so you can watch that and make the decision whether you would want to buy the 3-in-1s or try to track down the single editions. All right, moving on, we have volume 5 of Orient. This comes from the same creator as Magi, and it is a pretty fun shonen series. It's got some decent action, some fun characters and stuff. It hasn't really become great for me so far. I would say it's still just good, but it is enjoyable and I do enjoy the artwork as well, so I am still picking the series up. And then we've got the short story collection, Original Sins, from the 7 Deadly Sins series. This is a collection of short stories that are connected to the main series, and they are by the author of the main series as well. So I picked this one up to add to the collection, as I do have every single volume of the series as well. Moving on to some oversized volumes, we have volume 7 of Wave Listen to Me. This is by Hiroaki Samura, the same creator as Blade of the Immortal. So if you enjoy Blade of the Immortal, you might enjoy this one, but they are completely different series. This one is more set in a modern realistic setting, whereas Blade of the Immortal is very much not that. Next up, one of the best ongoing comedy series, we have Grand Blue Dreaming Volume 14. This one is always hilarious, always gives me plenty of stuff to laugh about every single volume that comes out, so I'm always very excited to have new volumes. And then we've got a few that are not entirely new releases. First off is Volume 4 of Blue Period. This one was not available when I bought the first 3 volumes, but it did recently become available, and so I went ahead and ordered it. I'm excited to finally, this is going to be like the next thing that I read after I finish the couple of books that I'm working on right now. And I'm excited to read it because I did go to school and have a degree in art, and so I'm excited to see like how this compares to my experience that I had as a student at an art university. I might do a video about it. I might do a video talking about my thoughts on the series itself, comparing it to what I experienced as an art student, but like I said, I'll be reading this pretty soon. And next up we have a series that I had heard so many great things about that I could not stay away from it for long, and that is Boys Run the Riot. I have heard so much good about this from all sorts of people, friends and stuff that have read it. All have said that this is a great series, and so I had to get it, so I went ahead and bought the first 3 volumes of the series. So now I'm ready whenever the 4th volume comes out, and this is going to be the series that I read after I finish catching up with Blue Period. So hopefully within the next week or so I get to read both of those. Then we've got a couple of oversized releases. First is the hardcover edition of Junji Ito's Cat Diary. This was one of the 2 series of Junji Ito's that were not released by Viz Media, the other being Dissolving Classroom, which I believe is under Vertigo. This was released just recently, has a larger trim size than the paperback release, and it also has a new cover that glows in the dark, as well it has a new interview with creator Junji Ito. I really like this release. I love the design of the hardcover, and we are getting a new hardcover release as well for Dissolving Classroom, so I'm expecting that one to be similar looking to this one, and I'm excited to add that one to the shelf as well. And then finally from Kadansha is this big boy, volume 6 of the Colossal editions of Attack on Titan. This collects volumes 26 through 30, I believe, of the original series. So the 7th volume will be the final of these Colossal editions, and that will collect 31 through 34. So it'll be slightly smaller than the rest of these, which all had 5 in 1. I really enjoy these. I know a lot of people think that they're way too unwieldy, but I like this increased trim size on these Colossal editions, as well as like the hardcover editions of Akira and Battle Angel Alita, and the hardcovers from like Dark Horse, like Berserk, Blade of the Immortal, and Hellsing, because this trim size is closer to the size that it was originally published in the weekly or monthly magazines as they came out in Japan. So all these different series, the like paperback volumes, the ones that we're typically getting, are the artwork is shrunk down considerably, so I like to see it in the original size. It's just a lot of fun to experience it that way, and to each their own. I know not everyone's crazy about that, and a lot of people would rather have the single editions, but for me this is my preferred format, and the more manga that were released in larger volumes like this, honestly, I'd probably buy those over the single editions for pretty much anything. So that's it for Kadansha. Now let's look at some stuff from a few other publishers. Alright, so first up from Dark Horse, I've got one paperback, Mob Psycho 100 Volume 7, and I'm gonna say I was worried that they were discontinuing this title because I think there was like an entire year between when Volume 6 was published and this one, and I know that the Reagan volume did come out between the two, but even so, there was like no announcement for Volume 7 for the longest time, and then finally we got it, and we do have Volume 8 also announced. I believe it's set to come out in like March of next year, so it is still a little bit of a wait, admittedly. But I'm really excited that it didn't get discontinued. Hopefully they'll speed up the release so we can get the rest of the series pretty quickly. And then also from Dark Horse, we've got 2 of these oversized hardcover editions. I love these hardcovers from Dark Horse. First off, we've got the 4th out of 10 hardcovers for Blade of the Immortal. So we're about at the halfway point on this series. And then we've got the 9th hardcover from Berserk. Berserk should have a total of 14 hardcovers. Because volume 41, which collects the remainder of the material that Miura created before he passed, that is due out in about a month in Japan. It's due out December 2021. So the 14th hardcover would then collect volumes 40 and 41, meaning it would be a 2-in-1 rather than the full 3-in-1 size like the rest of the hardcovers, unless they decided to also pack in they could add in like the guidebook that was released from Dark Horse not that long ago, or the light novel. So there is some extra material they could put in there to kind of pad out that volume. But I don't know, we'll see what happens. It's not going to be that far away. We should find out within the next year is when we should see the solicit for the 14th volume, probably by the end of next year or early 2023, we should see whatever their plans are for that volume. So we'll see what happens. Now from other publishers, I've got one book from Udon, and that is Otherworldly Izakaya Nobu Volume 8. This is a great series. The first volume I read like last year, and then Udon sent me volumes 2 through 7, and I bought 8 on my own. First volume was a lot of fun. I highly recommend it if you like food manga and you want to read something that's just plain relaxing. This is perfect for that. I will be reading this one probably after I finish Boys Run the Riot. This will be the next thing that I read, and then I will be doing a full review on the series, the 8 volumes that are out so far. And then we've got Solo Leveling Volume 3 from Yen Press. I've really been enjoying this series, but I have to say that Volume 3 was my least favorite of the bunch so far. It was fine still, but just the narrative was not as compelling as it had been in the previous volume. So hopefully it picks back up again, because I have been really enjoying this. And then we've got the last volume of High Rise Invasion. This 3-in-1 collects volumes 19, 20, and 21 of the original Japanese release and wraps up the series. I really enjoyed this series. The ending was okay. It wasn't the best ending in the world, but the rest of the series was a ton of fun all the way through. Great action. I know a lot of people have not enjoyed the anime. I haven't watched the anime at all. I was reading the series before the anime aired and just wasn't really interested in watching it. So I don't know how it compares. Like, I don't know if they've changed a lot in the anime that made it not as good as the manga, but I had a lot of fun reading the manga personally, but that's just me. Anyway, so that's all the new releases and stuff. Now let's take a look at the older things, and this is where I've got some stuff I'm really excited to talk about. Okay, so I've got 2 stacks of older books. I'm gonna go through the first one pretty quickly. This is just one series that I'm really excited to have added in my collection. The second stack, that's the stuff that's super exciting. Okay, so the first stack is Video Girl I. This is a series by Masakazu Katsura. It was in Japan, published in the Weekly Shonen Jump magazine, but in the US, it debuted before Viz created the Shonen Jump line, so it was just part of their Viz Action line. I'm really excited to add this to my collection. I've recently become pretty big fan of Katsura's work, so I wanted to track down everything that's available in English, and I was very excited to find an entire lot of all 15 volumes of Video Girl I going for less than cover price. So I jumped on that. I was very happy to be able to add this to my collection. If you haven't read any of Katsura's work, I highly recommend checking him out. He's got a lot of great stuff, but a lot of stuff that hasn't yet been published in English. So I'm hoping that someday in the future we can at least get like Zetman. He's also not been working much in manga since like 2008, I believe. He's done a few things here and there, like he's done a couple of short stories alongside Akira Toriyama, but aside from that, and he also did the character designs for the video game Astral Chain, but aside from that stuff, he's largely not been working in manga. The last 2 volumes of Video Girl I are actually a spin-off, a sequel called Video Girl Len, but they just got added as volume 14 and 15 for the English release instead of being a separate title like it was in Japan. Okay, so with that out of the way, this is the stuff I was really excited about. So if you watched my haul video from last month, you know that I announced that the reason I had been buying so much stuff, why my hauls had been so big over the past few months, was because of the fact that I was trying to collect every single manga that was part of Viz Media's Shonen Jump line. And I only mentioned it in that last video because I wanted to say like, hey, my hauls from here on out are going to be much smaller, and this is why. Because there were only about 14 more volumes that I needed to get. I think there were 14 more volumes that I had not bought yet, but a couple that I had bought were in transit, so that's why this stack actually has more than 14 books. So I did that to say, like, not to worry, my hauls are not as big, not because I'm collecting less, but because I am getting close to finishing off a huge collecting goal that I've had, and that is the reason why they've been inflated for the past few months. And so I mentioned all of the books that are in the Shonen Jump line that I did not yet own, or that I had not yet purchased, and I didn't intend on doing that with, like, the idea that people would reach out to me to try and help me out with this stuff, but that is exactly what happened. And I'm not going to mention anyone's name in particular just for the privacy of those people. If you helped me with this and you would like to comment down below, please feel free. I just don't want to mention your names without your permission, because I know that some people would prefer to be private. But anyway, many people reached out to me, and I did get some of these on my own. I did purchase some of these on like eBay or Amazon. But I got a lot of help from people from not just around the States, but like outside of the US even, people who were wanting to help me, who did help me and all this stuff. And so let's just go ahead and check it out. So first on the top of the stack is Eyes Volume 15. This is by the same creator, like I was mentioning, of Video Girl I, Masakazu Katsura. I started reading this actually recently, and I absolutely love it. Just from like the very beginning of the series, I fell in love with it. And I thought that this volume was going to be like the hardest one for me to find of anything. I thought this was going to be the last one, but someone in Canada reached out to me saying that they had found a copy. It was this and one of the volumes that I needed of Reborn. And they had found those for me, and they shipped them over for me. I had to, pay for the books and the shipping, of course, but the prices that this last volume go for on like eBay and Amazon are just stupid. So even having to pay like shipping from Canada was a way better price than what I would have gotten otherwise. And honestly, I'm so thankful for that. Like I can't even state how thankful I am for that. But I was able to, with that, wrap up Eyes. And then next we have Kaguyasama Love Is War. Now, volumes 2 and 11, I believe that I purchased these without that much issue. I just waited until they became available on like Amazon or eBay. But volume 10, this was the last volume out of all of these that I had to get. This was the final volume of every Shonen Jump release that I did not yet have. And I had ordered it, and I think in my last video I didn't even mention this as being a book that I was looking for because I had ordered a copy, but it took about a month to come in, and when it finally came in, it was in German, even though the listing on eBay said that it was in English. And I was really pretty bummed out about that, especially because of the fact that there were no other listings anywhere that were even close to cover price. So I waited, and eventually I found one that was pretty well priced. It was over cover price, but it was a lot better priced than like the $200 copies that I had been finding elsewhere. And so I was finally able to knock that off the list, and honestly, it actually just came in yesterday. So it was only yesterday that I finally had the ability to say I'd finally finished the collection. Next, I've got volumes 4, 8, and 12 of Nisekoi. I had to film a correction for that video real quick. It was volume 13, not 12, that I had someone help me out with. So the last 3 volumes of Nisekoi, volume 4 came from eBay, volume 8 came from Right Stuff, and then volume 13, not volume 12, was the last one that I needed. And I had made a TikTok video where I mentioned I have everything except for 4 volumes because there were only 4 remaining at the time. And one of those 4 was volume 13 of Nisekoi. And that was when I had someone who was a viewer on my TikTok reached out to me, said, hey, I'd love to send the volume to you. I have it. You can have it. And I offered to pay for it. I offered to at least pay for shipping. They said no, and they sent it my way, and that's how I got this one. I want to make the correction, not only because I wanted to make sure I got the volume right to talk about the one that someone helped me out with, but also because volume 12 is not rare, so I know someone would probably look and be like, dude, that book's available for like $6 on eBay, so I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, just had to make that correction. And then we've got volumes 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 of Reborn, and unfortunately the series was discontinued after volume 16, so the rest of the series has never been released in English. I got, I think, 2 or 3 of those from eBay. One of them, the same person that found Eyes volume 15 found that volume and sent that to me, and the other, I think, 5 volumes, one person found, as well as with volume 12 of Seraph of the End, in a used, bookstore or something close to them, and then they reached out to me and sent it to me. And that's it. That's everything. That wraps up every single volume of manga under Viz Media's Shonen Jump line. I've now collected everything with the help of so many kind people out there. And honestly, not just the help of those who reached out to me, and not just the help of those who did send me these books, but everyone who viewed my videos these past several months, my haul videos as I was collecting these things, especially my previous haul video where I talked about the fact that this is what I was doing. Your engagement with my video is really what helps for it to be spread to more viewers and helps it to hit more people, and that engagement helped it to reach more people who could possibly help me with these things. So thank you to every single one of you who watched that video, whether you're subscribed to my channel or not. Without even knowing it, you helped this to happen. And so with that, I will now be making videos about every Shonen Jump series. The first video I'm gonna do is just kind of the standard, hey, I collected everything, here it is, like talking about why I decided to do this, a bunch of other basics about the collecting of all this stuff, and then showing all the books themselves to show what a complete collection of Viz Media's Shonen Jump line actually looks like. But after that, I do plan on doing additional material about all the Shonen Jump titles, so ranking them from best to worst, or talking about the most underrated of these, the ones that no one really talks about, the ones that people should look for, which ones maybe were the hardest for me to track down, which I guess you can kind of get the idea of that from here. Which of these need to be reprinted. I already made the video about the ones that were discontinued, so that's kind of out there. But if there's any other specific topics that you want me to cover, any of you viewing this video, that you'd like me to cover as far as questions that you would have about this line, let me know in the comments like exactly what questions you have about the Shonen Jump line, and I'd love to see if I can fit them into some of the videos that I have planned for the future, or maybe make new videos around your questions and stuff. So I don't know what else to say, but just thank you. You know, I make these videos with the intent of making content that I don't really see from others, that I want to make because it's content that I would love to see, being both informative but also entertaining about subjects that I'm interested in. So I'm so thankful that there are at this point almost 45,000 of you who have jumped on and want to hear me talk about this stuff. So it means a lot. If you're watching this and you still haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so you're notified of all the exciting new videos I put out every single week. And with that, thank you again for watching the video. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.